South Korea.
Oh, is she? I didn't know where she
Oh,
went. That's pretty cool, though.
Yeah,
to
that
see
is
that.
cool.
We're Googling the time change. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
There being nobody came forth for public comment, I will go right to new business, and Superintendent Lang, if you please, we're here to discuss the ratification of the MOA between the Chelmsford Federation teachers and nurses.
Correct, yes, we just actually have one agenda item tonight, and it's a ratification vote for a new contract with our teachers to span the next 3 years, beginning July 1, 2022 through June 30th, 2025. So you do have a copy in front of you, and this is substantively the same document that we had reviewed previously in executive session. So I'll go through with you and kind of talk about the high points and highlights of it, and then answer any questions you may have. So on the first page, it's basically, again, standard language, just indicating that this is a new 3-year contract. All of the dates and whatnot in the contract will be updated accordingly. All the provisions begin July 1st, 2022, unless otherwise stipulated. We then go through on page 2. These are just a number of grammatical changes, updates to language within the contract. Like number 9, for instance, our old contract used to reference the Board of Selectmen, but obviously they're now the Chelmsford Select Board, so we've incorporated that change, things along those lines. Let's go through Article 14. Again, it's kind of a cleanup one. This is a typical standard practice. If you ever do go to arbitration, both parties share the costs of the arbitration services and the stenographer. Our language previously just didn't indicate you share the cost of the stenographer, so we also put that in the contract, but it's pretty mundane language. On 15, we did include a change, so we added the Juneteenth holiday in June. So if school is in session on Juneteenth, that will be a day off and that would not be a school day. We did remove Good Friday as a holiday where we can't schedule school. So in future years, we've already set the calendar for next year, but in future years, it would be at the school committee's discretion whether to schedule school on Good Friday or not. So you do have that option. We did, again, agree to just when school starts, there's already language in the contract that allows us to adjust the schedule by 5 minutes before school starts. We agreed with the union to have a little bit more flexibility to be able to go up to 10 minutes. Again, not a hugely substantive matter. The couple of different language items, just more on individuals who are returning to the district. So these are people who've left on their own, and when they actually come back into the district, kind of how they're treated, which steps they would come in at. We did some more language updating in section 24. This is the appendix of the contract. We have several programs that we just don't operate anymore. So it's not that we're eliminating these programs. There were no eliminations. They just call different titles. We don't have kindergarten childcare anymore. We don't have Lions Den preschool at the high school anymore. We don't call ComEd Summer Camp. It's actually now called Summer Fest. So again, just little updates along those lines. One item that we did add, number 27, was adding parent-teacher conferences at the middle school level. We have them, as you recall, at the elementary school level. This will be another opportunity for parents to be able to meet with teachers during the school day over the course of this coming year. And this is something, obviously, we're going to have to figure out with the administration of the schools and the parents and the teachers, how to best operationalize that to make those be valuable and also accompany the number of people who may want those activities. We updated our stipends across the board, our financials across the board. Basically, our salary schedules increased 2.5% in year one, 2.5% in year two, 2.5% in year three. All of our appendices for like our coaches and our clubs and things like that also increased 2.5% for the 3 years. As an additional incentive in the base contract, after the 2.5% is applied in year one, we're going to add in the first year of the contract another step, a step 13, which is 1% above step 12. So for individuals in those steps, and that's about 48% of our membership, they would actually receive a 3.5% increase in year one, and then a 2.5%. We think that was obviously significant, and I believe hopefully well received. Again, those updates to salaries worked right through all the different appendices in the contract. In year two of the contract, where we added step 13, we're going to drop back down to step 12. So we actually remove step one of the contract and then do a renumber. This is something we did in the previous contract. It's for two purposes. It's one, to kind of benefit our senior staff a little bit on step 13, but also to help us as we're recruiting and attracting new staff to the district to keep our entry step also competitive with our surrounding districts and comparable communities. Again, more cleanup when we look into, say, item 32. Within our athletic schedules, there used to be language that indicated a coach would come in, and on the first year, they'd receive 90% of the stipend. The second year, they'd receive 95%. The third year, they'd receive 100% of their pay. And it's not a significant sum of money, but it always led to questions about why would that be the case? You have a posted stipend, and then you just prorate it. So we've eliminated that. We worked with the union a little bit. They had a concern around some of the dates for professional development and when people take courses. So we updated some of the dates in the contract. So for the fall semester, it was reported to us that some schools were starting classes in August as opposed to September, and the contract used to read September. So we've amended that at the union's request to be August. And then another issue that the union had brought up that we agreed to in number 34 was actually to put a little working group together to take a look at special education in the district, caseloads, evaluations, number of services people are providing to make sure it's equitable within our district, within schools, and also to take a look potentially at other neighboring districts or comparable communities. So we will, at some point later on this summer, probably talk with the union about setting that up and having that group either work the summer if people are available, or if not, sometimes that does begin in the fall. 35 is, again, just another update. In the recognition clause of the contract, we didn't have technology integration specialists. We obviously have them. They're in the union, so that's just a quick update. And then lastly, as I indicated, was the financials, which I'd already described for you. But in a nutshell, that's the agreement. I'm happy to talk about any individual provisions you may have questions about. I did include a copy of all the salary schedules at the end of the document. Mr. King and Mr. Moses were on the negotiating team for this contract, and we spent a good amount of time and nights and hours negotiating it, so I thank them for doing that. I think in the end, it's a fair contract that honestly benefits both sides, so I'm happy that we were able to reach agreement early on as well. It's not typical for us to be able to do that before a contract actually expires and a new one starts. So we have that before you tonight. Any comments or questions, happy to answer it, but ultimately looking for a motion to move forward with ratification of the contract.
Anybody have any questions?
Just a comment. So I just wanted to say, just regards to the negotiation process, that the teachers union was really great to work with, and how much I appreciated working with the teachers and union leadership, and all of the feedback and back and forth. It's been a long time since we had a contract, and which has been 3 years, but it might as well have been a decade at this point. And as a parent and I think Maria had this experience too, having the opportunity to hear your teachers and all of the hard work that they had to put in the past 3 years through all of these crazy things. I think we all felt that this contract rewards them in an appropriate way and puts the town in a more competitive position for hiring more great teachers in the future. So that's my only comment.
Okay, John, I guess I'll comment for myself.
You comment for yourself.
But, of course, it's always wonderful to be able to work with great teachers. I appreciate the fact, I wasn't part of this negotiating committee, so I don't know how that went, except from what you guys have reported to us. It sounds like it went well. And I'm glad to see that we've reached an agreement.
Anyone else have any comment?
I have a question, though. On the stipend thing, we used to have a committee or something that was going on. What's going on with that?
So we did have we had 2 study committees in the previous contract that were kind of date certain. They were supposed to have concluded their work. We basically agreed to remove the reference to those 2 committees because the term had already expired. There was discussion, a little bit of discussion in this contract about rates and things along those lines. We didn't reach agreement to change anything in the contract on the clubs and advisors, coaches and whatnot either, aside from increasing the 2.5 for those. And I think that the discussion was taking individual items up, maybe on a one-by-one basis as they come up. Nothing prohibits us if we do see some type of an inequity or something needing to be adjusted throughout the course of the contract. We'll do that from time to time, even with like a side letter of agreement with the union, and then something might be implemented in the future contract. We actually had several clubs at the high school and the middle school level, which were added over the course of the following 3 years. And we have language in the contract that allows for that to happen, and it allows for us to dialogue with the union around where they think a particular position should fall on the salary chart that's in the contract. So that does still exist, and we'll likely use that in this next 3 years.
Okay, so basically those committees aren't in existence.
Well, no, those 2 committees, they had a date when they were supposed to conclude their work, so the work of those committees was already done.
Okay.
And the only new committee that we agreed to was the Special Education Study Committee. So
On
that-
this one?
Yep, so that will be a new committee to be formed to look at special ed issues.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions or comments? No. I'll entertain a motion for ratification of the MOA between the Chelmsford Federation's teachers and nurses, and the school committee.
Make a motion to approve the MOA with the Chelmsford Federation of Teachers as presented.
Second?
All right, before, it's a roll call.
roll call,
Are there any other questions or comments before we take a vote? Town Manager Cohen?
No, I want to thank Dennis, John, and Jay, and council and others for all their work in reaching this agreement today, and I fully support what you've produced. And thank you again so much.
So I take it that's
That's a yes.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm in favor, aye.
I've translated it for that. Aye. John?
Aye.
Maria?
Aye.
I'm aye.
Okay.
Thank you for that. And has anyone received any public comment? Nope. So I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So adjourned.